Hey everyone, it's Robin from One Paper Street. Today I have a special project to share with you. Several paper crafters are standing up today as part of the Papercrafters Unite Against Racism hop. This hop allows us to stand with our crafty sisters and brothers of color while using our talents to help raise awareness about the fight for equality all over the world. I've included the link to Justine Hoovie's website where you can find the full list of paper crafters participating. I've also included some resource links below if you're looking for more ways to get educated on racism. Also, don't forget to check out the next project in the hop, created by Jill Cameron Creations. Now let's get started. I'm going to be using this beautiful tulip stamp set from Waffle Flower Crafts, and I also have the coordinating die which will make cutting it out very easy. I thought yellow and gray tones would look really beautiful on this flower, and I like that it's not just the normal natural colors that you would find on a tulip. Alright, so I don't color flowers super often, but I had this amazing stamp and so I just had to use it. So I'll walk you through what I did for this one. I sort of took my Copic marker and I brought the brush upwards. So I sort of flicked it from the bottom of the flower to the top so that I would get kind of a nice gradual release of the ink onto the paper. And I'm not actually bringing my yellow all the way down to the bottom of the flower base because I'm going to add some darker colors there. And I'm sort of just going through and doing the same thing on each different flower. And you'll notice that I'm not bringing it all the way to the top either. So I'm actually going to take a clear blending brush and sort of just bring it down into the yellow once I'm all done. Now once I'm done with this Y13, I'm going to move over to my Y17 color. Now in honesty, if I had a Y15, I would probably use that as my middle color between Y13 and Y19, but I don't, so I used Y17, and really it's going to work just fine for what I'm trying to do today. Now I'm sort of just taking this Y17 and just bringing it up, but a little shorter than where I have my yellow. So you'll see I sort of stop a little bit in the middle, and we will go back through and blend things out. So I only show you one layer on this video, but essentially I go over this flower 2 or 3 times to really get a good blend the way I like it. Now I'm just going back through each different flower, and I'm taking my Y17 a little bit lower than I did before, and I'm taking it and kind of just letting it blend in with the yellow as we move through it. One thing I would caution with Copic markers is to not be afraid of it. It can be a little intimidating because the markers are not cheap. They can also, bleed, so you have to sort of anticipate where they're going to go. But honestly, the more you play with them, the more you're going to feel comfortable with them. So if you're new to Copics or alcohol markers in general, the more you play with them, the more you're going to feel comfortable and feel experienced. So here we've moved over to the Y19 color, and again, that's the very bottom color. So we're just going to take our marker and fill in all of that empty space we had at the bottom. So you don't want any white space at the bottom of your flower. And then you're just going to go and do that same technique, and you're going to take it a little lower than that Y17 so that you can get a good blended look throughout. When I'm finished with my Y19, I'm actually going to grab a clear blending marker to finish up the project. Now this marker is simply meant to just push some of the alcohol ink around, and you'll notice it's not a Copic. I actually don't have a blending Copic marker. So this one was from my previous alcohol marker set from Chromatics. I actually would not recommend that. They dried out very quickly, but I do use it in conjunction with my Copics whenever I need to blend something out a little bit more. But all I'm doing is just taking that marker and essentially swiping down to meet the yellow below it. Moving over to the leaves, I used N2, N4, and N6. I used the 6 to shade certain areas and the 2 set the base. I really wanted that yellow from the tulips to pop, so I felt like this was a really good way to achieve that by just having a neutral leaf. You'll notice that I really took my time to shade in this first leaf. I wanted to show you how I do my Copic blending before I went through and did all the other leaves. I always start with the lightest color and bring it over the entire area, or most of the area. Then I'll go back through with my middle color and start at one edge and just slowly kind of bring it into the lighter color. From there I'll finish up with my darkest color only at the very edge, and then I go back through and I blend everything out. Now I colored most of the leaves off camera just to make the video a little bit faster, but I'll show you a final product once everything's done. As promised, here's the final look. Now I ended up making 2 different flowers so that I could turn it into a bouquet, and I added some mounting squares on the back of it so that I could stick it straight to the card base. I wanted to add some 1/2-inch strips to the bottom of my card design, and I didn't have any black paper that matched the gray tones that I was using, so I ended up just grabbing a sheet of white paper and coloring it with my N8 Copic marker. After that, I grabbed some yellow striped cardstock. Now, since the flower bouquet is offset to the left of the card, I wanted my yellow cardstock to fall to the right to balance everything out. And then once I have my 1/2-inch strips of cardstock in place, I'll flip the card over and I'll trim off any excess. The final step is to add the sentiment. I wanted the sentiment to balance the flowers even more, so I lined it up right below the yellow cardstock near the bottom of the card. I'm so happy with how this card turned out, and I just love this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. If you enjoyed this tutorial, you can find more like this on my website at www.onepaperstreet.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to visit the other videos in the hop. Have a great day!